So I think Rodney has some questions. Again, I went slightly over a bit on that, but hopefully um, building, that building brand awareness is key to success for your business, and social media is a brilliant way to do that. And hopefully there are some tips there that can help you and your businesses do that.
Okay, yes, Declan, thank you very much. We've had quite a few questions come through during this session, so we'll cut straight to them. First one is, how do I cut through the noise of social media to get my brand seen?
Yeah, good question, because there are literally millions and millions and millions of posts a day. And yes, there are lots of noise. What I would say is that, if you're crafting content that's of value to your audience, so it's what they want, it's what meets their needs, and it's what they're looking for, and it's did in a visual way, so it's a video or a high-res image or a nice aesthetic post, and it's targeted at the right people. It should cut through that noise, because it should stop people in their tracks, because it's visual, but then it's also valuable and of interest to the types of people that you're trying to target. And that's hopefully at a basic level how you can kind of cut through the noise, because it's visually appealing and it's highly targeted then to what your audience wants.
Okay, great. Next one here is on building brand awareness for e-commerce sales, but specifically into the USA market. Any tips for that?
Yeah, I suppose, if you're a business based here in Northern Ireland, and your main market is America, it can be very difficult to do it in an organic way, because social media platforms have this sort of local element to it, where they'll probably show local posts before international posts. But do you know what, you could spend months and months and months trying to do it, but the key shortcut is to probably dabble in some social media advertising. It's highly targeted. You can target people in America, in different geographic locations, New York, Boston, San Francisco, with highly targeted messages. And as a statistic there showed, you can get 1,000 impressions on average for around $5. So think of the amount of money. For $50 you could get 10,000 impressions, and so on. And if you have a budget to do that, it's a good way to fast track and shortcut that awareness phase with paid advertising.
Yeah, we've had a couple of questions in about specific businesses, targeting, like for example, fashion industry, or somebody who's a filmmaker, or somebody who's making furniture. And I suppose paid advertising is a great way to get straight in front of your target market, because you can be very specific in who you send your ads to.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. That's the power of social media, and I guess that's why people are spending so much money, $89 billion on social media advertising alone last year, which is, I think there was something like maybe 170 or 180 spent on TV advertising, which is obviously highly popular and highly effective. So, a lot of people are spending this money on social media, because it's highly targeted, and they can tell social media platforms to put it in front of these people. Like if you compare that to an advertising billboard or a newspaper advert, who you generally think might be interested in it or might see it, and you can't get the exact measurement as to who's seen it and whatnot. On social media you can. You can spend £1,000 and target specific people, and then you can see how many of those specific people seen it, how many people clicked on the post, how many people clicked through to your website. So everything is trackable. So yes, depending on whatever market you're in, you can target on social media via ads very specifically.
You mentioned using hashtags there, and there's been a couple of people questioning around that. Is there a way to research and find out what the most popular hashtags that are relative to your business are?
Yeah, well, at a basic level, you can use the social media platforms themselves and do it manually, and search for a hashtag in the Twitter search box, and just manually go through them and see which gets the most engagement and so on. Or you can use those premium tools like Hashtagify or RightTag, where you can put a hashtag or a keyword in, and then that'll give you suggestions for the best or the most popular hashtags that people use in relation to that particular subject. So theoretically, if you use a hashtag that's really popular, more people are going to see it because people follow hashtags on social media. People click on hashtags on social media, particularly around trending topics, like COVID-19, like Brexit, or like events, sporting events or music events, whatever it is, and people read and follow content around those events. So, using popular hashtags is a great way to get more awareness of your content and your brand.
That's great. And in terms of keywords as well, because you mentioned using keywords in your advertising, especially for paid advertising, you can target certain words and phrases. Is there a way to find out what those keywords are?
Well, it's probably a little bit of trial and error, and there's a couple of platforms that you can use to do some keyword research. Like there's a platform called keywordtool.io, and that you can type in keywords, and they'll tell you how many times they've been searched for just in an online context. You can also use another tool called Ubersuggest. That's Ubersuggest. Ubersuggest. And you can type in a keyword, and that'll tell you how many times that keyword is searched for online on a monthly basis in certain countries. It'll also sorry.
No, that's good. Carry on.
Yeah, it'll also tell you, the types of content that people are promoting online and in relation to that keyword. So things like I could type in Invest NI into Ubersuggest, and it'll give me the most popular posts that are shared on social media in relation to that keyword. So again, you can start to compile all this data together to see what the most popular keywords are, and then you can translate that from keywords into hashtags.
You build that up over time. And
Exactly.
the Google PPC platform, you can do keyword research there, and it gives you associated keywords and phrases, doesn't it?
Exactly, yeah. So you can use Google Keyword Planner, which you can type in a keyword, and it'll also give you, as you say, associated keywords. Probably the only drawback with that is that unless you're running active PPC campaigns, it'll not give you an exact figure. It'll give you a range, so it'll either be between 10 and 100, 100 and 1,000, 1,000 and 10,000. So it doesn't give you an accurate picture, whereas the likes of Ubersuggest and keywordtool.io, which are free tools to a certain extent, will give you that more accurate figure.
Brilliant.
But that Google Keyword Planner is a very powerful tool.
In terms now of building a brand for different types of businesses, would you have any tips for building a brand around a service rather than a product?
Yeah, it's do you know what, it's probably the same sort of process. You're selling a product or you're selling a service. I don't think it matters in terms of a social media context that much, because what you want to do is find your audience first. So find the people that are going to use this service, and find out what you want from social media. So do we want more people to know about this service? Yes, we do, right? Well, what are the types of people that use this service? What platforms are they on? What are they interested in? And then you can start to create content and create that viral sort of aesthetically pleasing content that's going to appeal to them. And there's no shortcuts, really, in terms of social media. It can take a bit of time to get that traction. Obviously one of the shortcuts is to pay to play to get in front of those people, but the process is the same as building awareness and a brand for a product as a service.
Great. You mentioned a number of media monitoring tools there. Is there a specific one you would recommend for LinkedIn?
I suppose there's no specific one for LinkedIn. You have Sprout Social, you have BuzzSumo, you have Hootsuite, Brand24, and they all monitor each social media tool, I suppose, as effectively as the other one. So I know, and I don't get any commission or anything for this, but Sprout Social has certainly been one that I've used quite a bit. and you can import your LinkedIn newsfeed, and it monitors your brand on LinkedIn and hashtags and things like that. So that would be one that I would use a lot, but obviously a lot of them do all of the same things and they vary in price and so on, but it's certainly one that I would use.
And in terms of TikTok as a channel for presenting your company story and brand, would you recommend that? And if so, how would you go about it?
Yeah, it's a platform that has exploded. It's 5 years old, but really only in the last year has it sort of come to prominence. With, I think, it added 300 million new users during the COVID-19 and lockdown and so on, the period of 4 months. So it has exploded, but it's important to look at each platform and know what they're about. And TikTok at the minute is about really humorous, viral, funny videos among younger audiences, certainly early 20s and downwards. And if that fits with who your target market is, and if that fits with who what your brand is about, lots of humorous content, maybe wacky videos and that type of thing, then yes, by all means, move on to TikTok. It's working on its advertising platform at the moment as well, and yeah, definitely embrace TikTok if that's what your brand is about. But if you're a solicitor or provide a software service, and maybe it's not really going to be the platform for you.
Okay.
So it's important to know what each platform's about.
Oh, great. And their advertising platform, they're working on it at the moment, so it's not live?
Well, it is for big brands,
Okay.
but they're expanding into the UK at the moment, and they're looking for media partners and things to help sort of push their advertising platform out. But they need to make money like every other social media platform. They've 800 million users and storing terabytes and terabytes of data, so they do need to make money. So it'll be interesting to see how it translates over time, because it's probably going to go on the same journey as Facebook did, in terms of where it's a very consumer-driven platform to having shareholders and going public and so on, to having to make money and really fine-tuning their advertising platform. And TikTok will probably follow that, but it's a bit early to say how that's going to look for me anyway.
Okay, and we're just coming up in the hour here, so one last question. So you've got your new brand, it's brand new, completely new. You've got all your social media platforms set up and ready to activate and roll. What is your tips for go live?
Yeah, it's to create buzz. Try and create as many sort of intriguing posts as possible. But it has to be gated strategically. You do need to go through that boring sort of process as to figure out what you want from social media, figure out what are the key measurable of objectives that you want to put in, research your audience and find out who they are, find out what they want. Then that, when you know what they want, you'll know what platform to go on, whether it's one platform, two platforms. Look at your resources and things, and look at how much content you can actually produce. So maybe stick to one platform as opposed to two. Look at your resources. Can you create videos? Get all that together. If you're ready to go live, your business is ready to launch, make sure you go through that sort of strategic process as to figuring out what it is you want and who you're going to target and how you're going to target them, and then how you're going to measure it. And that's a process that works. I go into every business and that's the platform that they do. And because it's guided, it's a strategic framework, and it's measurable, and it can be changed and adapted, and it's an ongoing process. But the ongoing process works, just like there's a process to build computers and a process to do things. Processes tend to work, and that's what I recommend. So create a bit of buzz, but do it in a strategic way.